Let's talk about Unified Communications Clustering. In a Cisco Unified Communications Manager cluster, the first server that you install is special. It's called the publisher and it holds the master copy of the cluster database. The publisher is where you do the majority of configuration, and it is the server that holds the license. The subsequent servers are all called subscribers. Subscribers have copies of the cluster database. When you install a subscriber, it gets a copy of the database immediately and then is incrementally updated afterwards. Subscribers read from the master database if it's available. If the master database is not available, then the subscribers read from the local database copy. It's important that replication is working, as replication may sometimes break. Always check to see if replication is working properly before taking the publisher offline. You can do this from the CLI using the utils db replication status command, or you can use rtmt or Cisco Unified Reporting. Let's add some more subscribers to our cluster. A CUCM cluster can have up to 20 servers. When you install the CUCM software on a server, it is not automatically able to process calls, act as a TFTP server, or perform other particular functions associated with CUCM feature. For this functionality, you need to activate specific services from the Serviceability GUI. For example, on our publisher, we can activate the bulk provisioning and Cisco Extension Mobility services. We can activate the TFTP service on subscribers' D&E so they can serve up files. Then we can activate the Cisco IP Voice Media Streaming app to create music on hold and software conference bridge resources. We can activate the Cisco CallManager service on subscribers A, B, and C so that they can do call processing. We can have up to 8 call processing servers in a cluster. These servers are licensed. Be sure you get enough CCM node licenses. Call processing redundancy is achieved through Cisco Call Manager groups. A Call Manager group can have up to 3 servers, but is almost always configured with 2. In our drawing, we will configure 2 Call Manager redundancy groups, the AC Call Manager group and the BC Call Manager group. We can register half our devices to subscriber A and the other half to subscriber B. If subscribers A or B fail, then the devices registered to these servers will fail over to subscriber C. This is the 2-to-1 redundancy model. Your choices are 2-to-1, 1-to-1, or no redundancy. For our 2 TFTP servers, we would configure use of these servers via DHCP option 150, which is a list of IP addresses. Half our devices would have subscriber D first in the list, and the other half subscriber E first. Music on hold and conference bridge media resource usage is controlled using media resource group lists. So we have a variety of mechanisms that provide for high availability of the services we need. Let's look at some options for cluster design. If we have less than 1,000 users, then we can deploy a single server and activate all of the services we need on that server. All of our devices would be registered to that single server, so we would not have high availability. We can do this with Cisco Unified Communications Manager Business Edition 3000. CMBE 3000 is a special installation that includes both the Cisco Unified Communications Manager and Cisco Unity Connection. CMBE 3000 supports up to 300 users and 400 endpoints. We can also use Cisco Unified Communications Business Edition 5000. CMBE 5000 is similar to CMBE 3000, but supports up to 500 users and 525 endpoints. CMBE 6000 supports virtualized CUCM, connection, CUPS, and Contact Center Express applications on a single server, 1 VM per app. CMBE 6000 supports up to 1,000 users and 1,200 endpoints. And finally, we could just deploy a single CUCM server. This model supports up to 1,000 endpoints, but is not recommended by Cisco. If we have less than 1,250 users, we can deploy a 2-server model. With this model, the Call Manager service needs to be activated on both the publisher and the subscriber. All of the devices would be registered to the subscriber, and the publisher would be used as a backup call processing server and the TFTP server. This model is applicable to the CMBE 6000 with less than 1,000 users and for CUCM clusters with less than 1,250 users. If we have more than 1,250 users, we can't deploy a two-server model. The publisher cannot be a call processing server if you have more users than this. We would need to deploy a publisher with no call processing, 2 call processing nodes, and a dedicated TFTP server. We would load balance registration of devices across the 2 call processing servers. This is a one-to-one design. We would need 2 redundancy groups for this. None of the CMBE products support scaling like this. When scaling up, we can use 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 redundancy. We talked about 2-to-1 redundancy earlier. With this approach, we used a group of 3 servers with 2 redundancy groups. Half our devices would be registered to subscriber A and the other half to subscriber B. If either of those subscribers failed, the devices would register to subscriber C. This approach is confusing to deploy in a virtual environment. We would have to make sure no 2 of these 3 subscribers ever landed on the same ESXi server. For a virtualized environment, we will always use the 1-to-1 model. Let's look at scaling up using the 1-to-1 model. In a CUCM cluster, we can have 8 call processing servers. We would divide these servers into 4 pairs and name them accordingly. We would load balance devices across the servers. To do this, we would define 8 Call Manager redundancy groups. The total endpoints for each server pair for CUCM 8.5 is 7,500. For CUCM 8.6, it's 10,000. So a CUCM 8.5 cluster can have 30,000 endpoints, while an 8.6 cluster can go up to 40,000. It's unclear from the 8.x SRND how many TFTP servers such a large cluster would need. We suggest that after 2,500 users, a second TFTP server should be added. Connection clusters share the same publisher-subscriber model, but can have a maximum of 2 servers in a cluster. A connection high availability cluster can have up to 20,000 users. Connection clusters can be digitally networked. If you need support for more than 20,000 users, you can digitally network up to 10 clusters with a maximum of 100,000 users. Presence clusters also share the same publisher-subscriber model, but can have a maximum of 6 servers in a cluster. A presence server can support up to 5,000 users. For high availability, a presence cluster can be divided into subclusters, each with 2 servers. With this approach, each subcluster is limited to 5,000 users. So, we have a maximum of 15,000 users with high availability and 30,000 users without. Thanks for watching.